Hey, welcome to my channel, or welcome back, loyal viewers. I'm Kerry, the nosy housefrau, and before I get to my thoughts on Shane Dawson's apology, I want to take a minute to announce that my cat, Mr. Miyagi, has passed away, and I want to thank everyone for the outpouring of support on Twitter, on social media. He passed away peacefully yesterday afternoon. We woke up to find him suddenly very unwell and still. I made an emergency appointment for the vet, and Pat was at work, so he asked me to wait so that he could say goodbye because they were best buds. And we waited a few hours. I had him next to me. He was just quiet and putting his face in my hand. And then we put him in the car, Zach and I. Zach had him on his lap. And about 2 minutes into the drive to get Patrick, Miyagi pushed his face against my hand real hard and slumped. And we realized he had passed away in Zach's lap. We got Patrick so he could say goodbye, and then wound up going to the vet just to give Miyagi to the clinic for cremation. So a lot of you who follow me on social media know that Mr. Miyagi, great name, right? He was a member of our family and a much beloved patriarch. He will be so missed. We had Miyagi since right before Zach did Megorium, so you can see how young Zach is in that film and get an idea of how much he's only known Miyagi in his world. We are doing okay though. The Rainbow Bridge is part of the deal, and we are relieved that Miyagi's heart stopped before he suffered. Up until yesterday, he was still trying to door dart and was still playing on his cat climber where he would look out the window. He loved all people, and we'll miss having our greeter for our newcomers. We couldn't have asked for a better cat, so farewell, you beautiful creature. It was an honor being your mommy. On to my thoughts on Shane Dawson's apology video. So many feelings. Perhaps it's because I'm looking at the world through a grief-stricken lens that I feel such apathy towards Shane's apology, but I'm going to unpack it here and work through my observations out loud, and we'll see where I'm at the end of this. I will start with the biggest con in the con column for me. Timing. The timing of this apology is unfortunate. It comes on the heels of Jenna Marbles' apology that was so well received. He even starts out saying her apology inspired him. And this is unfortunate to his apology too, because it suggests that the inspiration doesn't necessarily come from a good place so much as a strategic one. It looks as though he's trying to duplicate the success of her apology, which takes away from any remorse. He could have made his video a while ago. He could have made his apology video last week instead of writing that diatribe that turns out is another thing he has to apologize for. All of these things call sincerity into question. In fact, this apology came after at least 3 more inappropriate videos I've seen about him. I was so turned off, I had to turn it off. I couldn't hear him. I couldn't listen to him beyond my own annoyance. Why now? Why couldn't you stop yourself from doing all of the things you did? In this apology video, Shane says his reaction to criticism was to get defensive. But it's more complicated than that, and the devil is in the details. Sure, now Shane says he was defensive when criticized, but he was not just defensive to criticism. He stood by his offensive material for a long time, and that's important. This supposedly changed man doubled down and was irate when confronted, particularly with Zachary Quinto, who rightfully was livid after seeing Shane's garbage film, and Zachary removed his name. When he complained, "You had $850,000 to make that tasteless garbage," Shane didn't agree with him. Not the way he is now. In fact, he said he waited to film his reaction because at first he was, quote, very angry, very upset. And even a day later, he said, "I'm still just as confused, just as hurt, and just as angry." Really? It's crystal clear now, but you were confused? How? How is it confusing that some of that material is beyond inappropriate? But Dawson sticks up for himself. It says, "I like the movie, the producers that I trust like the movie, the test audience like the movie," and he battles back against Quinto's assertions that he shouldn't be making movies at all. "I know I deserve to make a movie because I've been working my effing ass off these last 8 years on YouTube." Dawson restrains himself from going after Quinto directly, saying he's taking the high road, but he does take a jab at Quinto's art house pretensions. Art house movies, they're great. If that's your cup of tea, well then honey, sip it, because I'm over here drinking a big gulp with something sugary, sweet, and bad for me with the rest of America. I'm going to link below a clip of Shane on this interview where he talks about how Zachary Quinto just didn't want him to win, and then flips the bird and says, I won, so there. In this same interview, Shane boasts that he framed a great moment where the New York Times reviewed his movie and said, if you like this movie, you must be the P word, the R word, etc. He thinks that's hilarious. So why am I bringing up ancient history? Because Shane acts like all of this should have been water under the bridge. And yes, while he says his previous apologies were bad, why are we getting a good one so long after that? Do you see what I'm trying to point out here? People tried to tell Shane. It's not enough to just say, I got defensive. Why did it take so much convincing to tell you that the air quotes jokes you made about kids over and over and over were not okay? It bothers me that Shane suddenly sees that now that there's enough backlash over it to harm his career. It's as if he thinks the ends justifies the means. Shane, you have reached the summit of success on YouTube. So now does that mean you can shed the tactics that you got there with? And now you're going to copy a good apology. You're going to pass off your designer imposter apology right down to the cadence and the reverent tone. My feelings initially when listening to Shane is I can't listen. You phony, you fake, you utter disappointment. I can't listen to you. My cat died. I'm going to bed. I slept on it, eventually. This morning, after I woke up, I had that first feeling that something was wrong, and then reality washed over me again, and I remembered why. Over coffee, I started to think about Shane again, and I realized I had a bad reaction to his apology because I wasn't open to his apology. If you're not open to an apology, you won't hear it. You'll hear every uncomplimentary version of what they are saying, and with every word, you'll be more convinced of insincerity because you're mad. I'm mad. I'm in shock. I have not yet processed every video I've seen about Shane, and yet there was another one first thing today. One where he's holding his ex-girlfriend and they have a box of cake mix, and on the back there's a child of color, and he makes fun of her hair. But that brings me to the necessary disclaimer that much of what Shane said and what he's apologizing for isn't for me, and I know that. I can be offended, but not for anyone, and that's where I have to take cues from the people his history does affect. I did hear Shane confront head-on the things he knows he's done wrong. He said he knows he gives his friends a pass quite often. He said he's drawn to broken people and has a desire perhaps to fix them. Once again, I see a codependent quality. Among the many lessons Shane claims to have learned, I hope he's realized you can't make yourself responsible for fixing people. You shouldn't try. You are responsible for yourself. I believe everyone should be allowed a chance to change. But where I am at now is, maybe I can revisit that with a more generous spirit after I've had time to adjust to some of the video clips I've seen these last few days. I am seeing an older Shane. Those clips were from 2014, 2015 when he was on that show. I'm seeing older Shane, but current Shane has moved on from that long ago. Yet these images are fresh in my mind and they keep surfacing and I can't just dismiss it. About 5 minutes ago, in fact, I took a break and I saw a video where he's on a tiny chat with young people and requesting twerking. And this girl posted a tweet about something he complimented her on when she was 13. Joke after joke after joke. No one's laughing. How many jokes until we get to something that has a bad name and really requires accountability? We'll see what kind of person Shane is as he makes good on his promise to put good into the world, not hate. Still, I am personally concerned that I will never be able to look at him the same way. I feel like the person I enjoyed so much wasn't there. He was so relatable and so funny, now I don't see anything to relate with him on. When Shane proposed to Ryland, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. It was supposedly the best night of his life, but all of these videos were out there. That was after he made a piece of garbage offensive movie. Look at the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. I maintain everybody deserves an opportunity to change and do better. Every apology deserves the chance to be proven sincere. Shane is about to marry a man, and I have to consider, as much as this may seem like a reach in his favor, maybe Shane's warped humor was a mask, that it was hiding his insecurity and how he was working through his feelings. It doesn't make it okay by any means, but it does support the idea that he had no intentions of harming anyone so much as he was very, very stupid. Hanlon's razor. One thing that is clear, at least at one point in Shane's life, his moral compass was askew. What he considered humor was a disturbing lack of social awareness, a lack of basic manners. I get that comedy pushes the envelope, but he didn't just push the envelope. He drove the mail truck off a cliff. I will say, even as I'm upset, I don't want to see Shane upset. I don't like seeing this kind of strain on anyone's face. This topic got heavier than I like things to get on my channel, and it's particularly hard because there's no easy answer. It's just too soon, perhaps. I think with time, we can take a look at how the different communities affected by this are feeling, but also we can see how sorry Shane is. I believe the things he is getting heat for are the things he will never do again, and that should count for something. I appreciate that he said he was not a part of the beauty community, and he said flat out it was stupid to say so. He didn't mince words about that. He didn't try to skirt around it or make excuses. He just said, I don't know why I said it. And that's an honest answer, and I could appreciate that. Personally, I don't believe for one moment that he really enjoys doing makeup. I don't think it's a passion of his. If he loved it, he would have had more content on his Glossin channel. And perhaps he felt too much pressure. I don't know why or how Shane evolved into who he is today, but I do believe it is a different person than he started out as. I don't know all facets of him, but that person in the Jeffree Star documentaries was not someone I ever thought would be involved with such a horrid past as I have seen in the clips floating around. It has occurred to me that Shane didn't have to make his apology video. He's made his money. He could have made an exit without a word, and I know that's not typical of business people, but he could have. What do you think? Are you glad he didn't? I swear I have never seen drama explode like this before. Every time I check Twitter, something new has come up. And remember I told you we'll see as time goes on how different communities are feeling affected by this? There is now a tweet by Jaden Smith. Shane Dawson, I am disgusted by you. You bleeping an 11-year-old girl who happens to be my sister is the furthest thing from funny and not okay in the slightest bit. I have to tell you, that was particularly gross to me because we worked with Willow for a month on Kit Kittredge, an American Girl in Toronto, and she was 6 years old, so, seeing her at 11, I just always see her as this little girl. Jaden was there too. That whole family is close, so this is not the kind of thing that would go over well. I could see why he would be defensive of his sister because they were raised so tight-knit. The entire family was on set to be together, and I was kind of wondering how that would be received. They're very protective of her. I feel that way about the kids I didn't know, but it's weird when you see someone that's 6 years old and time flies, and so you don't really realize they're growing up. And to me, seeing that poster, I still think of her as little. I saw a tweet from somebody who said, am I the only person who just grew up watching Shane and thinking this was okay until now and realizing now how awful it is and how disgusting it is? And I think that's probably why he was able to do that for so long or felt encouraged. He probably got positive feedback. I can't imagine from who either, but I guess it was different times. What do you guys think? How are you feeling about all of this? Are you disappointed? Do you think that people go too far with cancel culture? Or do you think cancel culture should be invented for just this type of system of checks and balances? I'm really befuddled myself and disappointed, and like I said, I can't look at him in the same way. So I'm looking forward to talking to all of you guys in the comments down below. Thank you so much if you've watched this far. I'm so sorry, I'm fading. But love to you all. Thank you again for all of your support. And until next time, Hausfrau out.